Hi there, and welcome to this tutorial about mastering the date functions and the date formatting in Google Sheets. So I will demonstrate the most basic date functions, and I will demonstrate it also with some practical examples. So let's dive in. Now to start, let's understand how Google Sheets handles dates. Because managing dates in a spreadsheet requires special attention when it comes to dates. They are actually stored as numbers, and these dates being numbers can be customized to give the appearance of text, and you can format them based on the local or your personal preference. So let me show you that, for example, December 30th, 1899 is stored as a 0 number, and December 31st, 1899 is a 1, 1 January 1900 is a 2, and so on. So let me quickly show you this. If I, for example, type in here 0, 1, and 2. So these are entered as numbers. If I select them and I go to format, and I will come back to formatting of numbers and dates later, but just to illustrate it here, and if I put here the selection to format these numbers as a date, you can see exactly what I've just said. So the 0 is the 30th of December 1899. The 31st of December 1899 is stored as a 1. And the 1st of January 1900 is stored as a 2. So changing the number format like I just did does not really change the value of the number. It only shows the way that the value is displayed. So now that we know that dates are treated as numbers, which will come in handy because this also means that we can perform calculations and use specific functions with dates just like we would do with numbers. So now the date is formatted in the default format, as you can see here, and that is depending on your settings of Google Sheets. So you can find the settings of Google Sheets over here in File, and you go to Settings. So the local settings are the United States settings. And this setting here, the local, affects the formatting for functions, dates, and currencies. So as you can see here, the date is formatted 2 digits for the month, then a slash, then 2 digits for the day, a slash, and then 4 digits for the year. Now, if I go back to my settings, and I would change, for example, the setting for the United States for local to UK, let's say United Kingdom. I said United Kingdom. And if I, again here, type in 0, 1, and 2, for example, and I go back and I format these numbers as a date, now I get first the day, then the month, and then the year. So now Google Sheets is also smart to recognize dates. So let's enter a date in a cell. For example, the 7th of August 1977. If I hit enter, it recognizes this as is a date and it will store it as a date, just like I've typed it in. So it's also important to note that Google Sheets only recognize dates on or after the 30th of December 1899 when you type them in, just like I did here, for example, in 1977. Now, a special workaround may have to be constructed to handle years before that date, but that's another issue. When I select the date and when I pull here, the following dates are automatically added. And when I format them as numbers again, I go back to Format, Number, Automatic. You can see here the date values, as we can use them then in calculations if we want to. Now, let's take a look at some of the most useful date functions. So I've added them here on the left. One of the simplest date functions is the today function. So if I want, for example, in this field, I want to enter the current date, I can do this with the today function. So a function always starts with an equal sign. I will type in today, and then I will add 2 parentheses. Now, as you can see, Google Sheets already shows the outcome of the function as it is right now. So if I would do it like this, I hit enter, well, today's date is entered in the field, so the 17th of May 2024. Now, every time you open up the spreadsheet, this will update to the current date, which is very useful for tracking real-time data, for example. Now the second function that I have here on the list is a now function. It's a little bit similar to the today's function. So when I type this in, I will get not only the date, but also a timestamp. It will also update every time that you open up the spreadsheet, and this function is perfect when you need both date and timestamp. So the third function that I want to talk about is the date function. So the date function allows you to create a date from an individual year, month, or day components. Imagine that I have 3 columns here, and I would store, for example, 12, the value 12 in F3, 26 in the G3 cell, and let's imagine 2000 in the H3 cell. Now, if for some reason I need to combine those numbers into a date, I can do this with the date function. So equal sign date, I open the parenthesis. It will ask first for the year, so 2000, then the month, 12 for example, and then the day. And I can close. And I have this 26th of December 2000. Now, functions that I will use regularly in my spreadsheets to handle dates are the year, month, and day functions, as you can see them here. These functions actually extract a specific component of the date, and it is no surprise which component that is. A date, the 25th of June 2025. Let's imagine this, 2025. As you can see, if I select the cell, I can find up here actually that it's recognized as a date. So if I want to pull out, for example, out of this cell, I can only the year, I can use the equal sign year function. I type this in like this, and I select the cell F4. I close the parenthesis, I hit, and I get the result 2025. If I need the month, I select the same date, if F4, I close the parenthesis, and it gives me the 6th month of June. And also for the day, I can use the function equal sign day, open parenthesis. I select the cell F4, and it will give me the number 25. So this is a useful way to extract really a specific component of a date. Now, another very useful function is the end of month function. If you for some reason need to know exactly what date is the last day of a specific month, you can use the end of month function. Equal sign end of month. I select the field where I have my dates, and as you can see, I have a second parameter here that I need to fill in. When I put in a zero means exactly the month of that specific date. I can add, for example, a 1, and now I'm looking at July, or a -1, and now I'm looking at May. But most of the time, of course, I use a 0 like this, and then I get the date of the last day of the month of June 2025. This is a function that sometimes is very handy to use in specific formulas and when you want to manipulate specific dates. Now, let me show you a few more functions that are very useful. And that's, for example, if you need to calculate the difference between 2 dates, and then we can use the DATEDIF function. So let's imagine that I'm born on the 6th of November 1968 and the 17th of May 2024. If I want to calculate, for example, how old I am in days, I can do this with this DATEDIF. Yes, DATEDIF. I select the start date. I select the end date. And now I can choose with the unit if I want to have the difference expressed in years, months, or days. Let's start with years. It doesn't accept this because I need to type in the unit like this. And then you can see I am 55 years old in this case. If I go back here into the formula, I will change it in months. If I want to know exactly how many months old I am, well, it's for some reason 666, the number of the beast. That's a coincidence. And if I would like to do the same thing For days, I can do it like this. So in this case, my age would be like 20,281 days old, which can be a fun fact, but nevertheless, you can see what you can do with this specific function. I sometimes use also the text function. If for some reason or another you want to format the date value as a text, you can do this with the text function. If I have a number, let's say like 20,124, and I need to store it as a text, I can use the text function, =, text, open the parenthesis, I select the value, I hit comma, and then I can format it like I want to have it stored as a text. So I open the brackets, I enter 2 digits for the date, let's say a hyphen, 2 digits for the month, and 2 digits for the year. I close the brackets, I close with the parenthesis, and I hit enter. It's stored like the number, the 4th of February, 55. If I would, for example, go here, and I want to check if this is correct, I can select the cell, format number, and I go to date. And indeed, it's the 4th of February, 1955, that number. Now, and when I want to have the inverse function, I can use the DATEVALUE function. The DATEVALUE function is used to convert a date text string into a date value. So this is now a text field. If for some reason I want to find the number value again, I can do that with the date value. Date value. I select the outcome and I get the number again, 20,124. So that's date value. These are a couple of interesting date functions that I use regularly in my spreadsheets. Now regarding, and that's also an important part, regarding the date formatting and the customization. Let me show you how you can change the formatting of dates in any format you want. As I have shown, Google Sheets automatically recognizes, for example, a date, 1933, as a date. You can see it up here. Let's type in a date in another format, 1-1-1900. I go to format, and I'll change this into a number. It's number 2. Let's undo this. Now sometimes we want the date to show text for the month or a day, text for the day, or display only 2 numbers for the year, and so on. You have seen some examples, but there are actually very different ways to format a date. To change the date format, we go to the Format menu and we click on Number. And then we go to Custom Date and Time. This will take you to this window where you can set up the custom format. At the top of the window, you can see the field that shows the current format of the date in the cell. So in this field between the parentheses, it will show exactly what the output of the date will look like. So 1 digit for the day, a slash, 1 digit for the month, a slash, and 4 digits for the year. Now, if you want to change this in, for example, hyphens, imagine that you want, instead of slashes, hyphens, and you want 2 digits with a leading 0, 2 digits with a leading 0, and only 2 digits for the year. If you hit apply, as you can see, the format of the data is actually adapted. Now let's take a look at the formatting window below the top field over here. Here's a good selection of pre-configured dates and time formats, and also the formats that you have previously set up. They will also show up here. So if I click one, it has been updated here, so you can see also what the output will be. When I hit apply, then the format is applied to the cell. So in this case, that date was Thursday, February the 2nd, 1933. Now imagine that you don't see a format that you want. You can go back to the custom date and time formats field and you can type in your own. So I will just delete what is entered here in the top field and I can construct exactly what I want. And to do this, we need to click on the little down arrow. And I can select the input that I want in my format. Let's say that I want to show the full month written out for that specific date. I select month. I take this drop down and I take month as a full name. And when I select apply, only the month is shown for that specific date as it's full written out. Or for example, the full date with leading zeros, I go back, format, number, custom date and time. I select the day, leading zeros. I can put, let's say, hyphen. I select the month with a leading zero, again a hyphen, and then the year. And let's say I like to have the full numeric key with 4 digits, and I do hit apply. And now the date is formatted exactly the way that I want it to be. So basically, there's a lot of powerful customization that you can do here. And that's it for this tutorial on using date functions and date format in Google Sheets. I hope you found this useful. Let me know, click on the like button, share it with others, and subscribe to the channel to keep learning with more tips and tutorials. And if you have any questions or suggestions, leave them in the comments below. So thank you for watching, happy spreadsheeting, and I will see you in another video. Bye.